Hello there everybody, Sam Strains here, welcome back to the railway and welcome to another brand new Hornby steam locomotive unboxing and review. So, as you may know, this year marks the 80th year since the very famous A4 Mallard was built, and in fact only last week was the 80th anniversary since she broke her big record and became the world's fastest locomotive, a record that has never been beaten as of yet, and come on, to those guys abroad trying to beat it, it's not that impressive if you've only managed it 80 years in the future. Anyhow, so presumably to coincide with this anniversary, Hornby have brought out a brand new version of the Hornby Mallard, and here it is now in its very own special Hornby packaging. It has its own sort of garter blue packaging, which is really smart. I didn't realise that was the case, but it looks absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? Really cool. Anyway, strange as it sounds, I never actually managed to pick up a super detailed Hornby Mallard. I do have a super detailed A4 from Hornby, but I think it's Golden Eagle and it's in the BR blue. So I thought since it's the 80th anniversary, I might as well pick one up, and I was not disappointed. This thing is absolutely fantastic. So it is brand new, it's only just come into stock, and if you're at all interested in these, if you want to have a closer look, if you want to look at the prices, or if you want to see what else Hornby have on offer, there is a link in the description. I would urge you just to click on that and take a look. It's well worth it, I would say. And right now though, we're going to be taking this out of its box and taking a look at this together. So let's get started with the super duper Hornby A4 Mallard. Alright, here we go. So here it is, the brand new Hornby Mallard, and yeah, as I say, it's got its very own packaging here, custom packaging in the garter blue there, absolutely astonishing. So you really know it's something special, don't you, if they've gone to the trouble of giving it its very own packaging. So before I get this out, let me just show you what is on the end of the box here. So as you can see, the product code for this is R3676. It's the LNER Class A4, as you know, of course Mallard, and then the running number there is 4468, obviously, as we all know. And if I just show you the back of the box here, you've got some lovely presentation going on here. As you can see, this is classified as an 8P, so yeah, incredibly powerful things. And over here in the centre you have a brief history of the A4s and probably Mallard too. I did spot the word hamburger in there, which made me laugh, but sure, if you want to pause that and read it, feel free to, but I'm going to give you a sort of abridged version of that later on. So for now, let's get this out and see what it's like then, shall we? The brand new Hornby Mallard in its own packaging, I can't get over that. Right. So here we have it then in the blister pack, and look there, you can just about see her just behind all the glare there. Obviously not too great though, so let's get this out straight away. So there we are in the block of ice style blister packaging. First of all, I will just show you the operating and maintenance instructions here for the Class A4. I reckon I've probably shown you this one before, but it doesn't hurt to look again. So yep, this is for the Class A4 as you can see, and inside, again, it's got all of the basics, so it shows you there a little bit about lubrication, body removal of course, and obviously over on the far side there, a little bit about DCC fitting. Yep, it's got an 8-pin socket, I reckon. So yep, nice and convenient there. Right, so let's get this sleeve off and take a look at this beast, shall we? Alright, here we go. So, just slide that off. And as you can see in top here, we do have a detail pack, which I will grab very quickly. Not too much in here, which is good because most of the detail is actually fitted onto the loco. But inside there, as you can see, we have some painted cylinder drain cocks, which have managed to entangle themselves with the spare axle for the back. Now I say spare, it's not really a spare, it has flanges on it. I assume the one connected to the model won't have the flanges on it, just so that it can negate those tighter curves a little bit easier. So for me, actually, I'll be leaving that in there. But yeah, if you wanted to fit the cylinder drain cocks, you absolutely could do, but be careful if you do, because they are quite fragile things and it would be a shame to damage them. Anyway, wow, let's get this out then and see what she's like. Alright, just undo the end and lift it up. It's very well protected, by the way. As you can see, it's got this nice sort of rubbery plastic on there, which does a great job of keeping the packaging from chafing against it or whatever. And here she is. Wow, just look at that. And I've got to say, Hornby have really picked up their game on the quality. I don't think I've had a single model from them this year which has arrived in any less than perfect condition. And this really is spot on. There's not a mark on it, all of the details are perfectly intact. And just look at this, it's superb. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the detail in just a second, but the basics are the loco is good and heavy, plenty of weight there. The tender, strangely enough, is actually fairly weighty as well. I don't remember my Golden Eagle Hornby tender being quite as heavy as that, so that is quite good. Perhaps there's been a bit of a change there, not too sure. And apart from that, I mean, just look at this beautiful garter blue finish. It really is something else. I think the only garter blue loco I've had from Hornby, or the only garter blue A4, was the railroad version. I think it's Gadwell, isn't it? Now, she is beautiful, but this is just something else altogether. So I'm going to show you this up close in just a second, but first of all, as promised, here's a little bit of history of the beautiful A4 class. So, as you probably know, the A4s were a class of LNER Pacifics designed by Sir Nigel Gresley, and they were introduced in 1935. The first locomotive was Silverlink, which actually broke all speed records during its very first run. However, the class was made most famous by Mallard, of course, though, known as the world's fastest steam locomotive, and of course she achieved the title in 1938 at a little bit over 126 miles an hour, which is of course 80 years ago to the week, more or less. So the A4s were based on the Class A1, which was also a Gresley design obviously, but they were produced around 15 years previously. 35 A4s were built in total. Sadly, most of those have been scrapped, but 6 are left, and one of those 6 is indeed Mallard. And as you know, she can still be seen out there to this day. So there she is then, up against my white background, the astonishingly beautiful Hornby Mallard there. Now, of course, we all know how good the Hornby A4s are. There is a reason why they've continued to produce them for so long, and obviously, like I say, I've looked at them before, but even knowing that doesn't stop you from being slightly lost for words when you see this thing. It really is absolutely superb, and of course it really does knock the socks off the slightly dubious Bachmann version that I picked up a few years ago. But no, yeah, absolutely superb. And I think unlike my other super detailed Hornby A4, which was Golden Eagle, I think this version, as you can see, does have the valancers on there. Now, I know some people love the valancers and some people hate them. I personally really like them. I think for me it's something to do with the way the valve gear just kind of pokes out from behind them there. That looks really fantastic to my mind. So let's take a look at some of the details then on this beautiful super detailed Mallard. So taking a look up close then, you can see that all of the paintwork is done to a very high standard. You've even got this crest in the centre of the body here, which I don't believe was on my more simplified Mallard model, so that is quite nice to see for the first time. Obviously the Mallard nameplate is done very nicely. I'm not even sure whether that is etched or not. I suppose it might be, but regardless it looks to be really high quality. And then of course around the streamlined nose of the engine you do have all of that painted lining, which is faultlessly applied, as it very often is with Hornby. The wheel set is also painted into this very sort of deep maroon, which I think is always very smart. I suppose it goes without saying on the garter blue version, but it's nice to see nonetheless. And then on the side of the cab, of course, you've got the running number there in the classic LNER font, 4468, very nicely applied there. And just underneath you have the builder's plate there, and from where I'm sitting I can't read it, but if I zoom in I'm sure you will be able to. Normally those are very easily legible from Hornby. Another feature I really love about this is the windows. Obviously they are glazed, as most of the Hornby Railways range locomotives are, but as you can see here the front facing ones are sort of outlined with this gorgeous silver, and I didn't get that with my railroad version, so that is really fantastic to see. And similarly with this one on the side, you've got that almost wood effect inside there. I'm not absolutely sure what that is, but it certainly does look pretty good, doesn't it? I like that. And while we're talking about the painted detail, let's take a look inside the cab, because this is one of the best Hornby cabs I've ever seen. As you can see, everything is picked out there. You can clearly see all of the different components, and even the gauges have the numbers and dials painted onto them, which is just incredible to see. And while we're looking at the cab, let's take a look at the top here. You can see we do have these air intakes for the crew, which are movable. They are separately fitted and they can be opened and closed too, which is an astonishing touch of realism really, and yeah, really great to see. And if I have those open, the light shines in on the cab detail a little bit better, which is exactly what you want, because clearly it is absolutely superb inside there. I mean, just look at that, absolutely incredible. Okay, so separately fitted parts, this model doesn't disappoint either. Obviously I haven't got the cylinder drain cocks on there at the moment, but they are supplied, as you know. We've got the handrail and the pipework, which goes along the whole length of the body, which is fairly standard I suppose for most locomotives. But on top of the cab we've also got separately fitted safety valves there, which are made of metal, a fantastic high quality touch there, and you'd expect nothing less from Hornby. And just in front of the double chimney there you've also got the whistle, which is also separately fitted and made of metal, which is great to see. You've also got a highly detailed buffer beam, for want of a better term. I suppose I will call this a buffer beam. You've got the running number printed just above there. You've also got the coupling hook and the 3-link pre-fitted, which is fantastic. That's a fiddly job that I know a lot of people don't like having to do. And of course we do have separately fitted metal buffers which are sprung. Let me just demonstrate that. Yeah, I mean, absolutely fantastic. Okay, so that is the locomotive. As you can see, there is an incredible amount of detail on this thing. The moulded detail, to say the very least, is done to a very, very high standard. And also around the other side, we do have a separately fitted metal reversing rod, which is another very high quality touch. Let's take a look at the tender then, which has this beautiful streamlined shape. As you can see, the front of the tender here just slopes down into the rest of the body, which I think is really, really elegant. And yes, it looks fantastic, doesn't it, in the garter blue. You've got the L&ER lettering on the side, which, just like on the cab of the locomotive, is done to a very high standard, even if we look at it up close like this, which is lovely to see. The underframe detail is considerable. Something I forgot to mention with the loco is that the brake rigging is all pre-fitted, which again is a massive thumbs up. And just like the locomotive, the wheels on the tender there have been painted into that lovely deep maroon, which is great. Obviously, it's also worth mentioning that this loco does have tender pickups as well, which means reliability is an absolute given. Really, really good performers these are on the track, as you're going to see later on. And around the back you can see we have another highly detailed buffer beam, and the vacuum pipe there has even been painted into the garter blue, which is a really lovely thing to see. You've also got separately fitted handrails and I believe lamp irons as well there, so that is fantastic. The coal in the top is quite convincing, as you can see. It's definitely not too blocky like I think the Bachmann one was, a little bit dodgy looking. I think it will be removable. I haven't actually investigated to find that out for sure, but normally it is, isn't it? So if you're not happy with that, you can take it out and replace it. But like I said, it is relatively convincing, so there's a good chance you'd be happy to take that to an exhibition, I would think. Some of those brake handles and controls on the tender have also been picked out into the gold as well, which looks really, really elegant, doesn't it? I don't think I've ever seen that done before, so that is fantastic. So there we have it then. That is the detail on the loco, and wow, it really is something else, isn't it? Wow, yeah, a little bit lost for words. So I think what I'll do now is I will get this down onto the track. She has been running, I've had her going on the rolling road, so there's no need to mess around with that. Let's get her going straight away on the track. We'll test the slow speed performance and we'll see how many coaches she can haul. Okay, let's get to it. So there she is then down onto the track, and goodness gracious, she really has got a bit of a presence to her, hasn't she, on the track? Yeah, just a splendid thing. So anyway, she's about to be coupling up to this rake of L&ER teak coaches. There are 7 of those, so that ought to be a fairly decent test of her pulling abilities. But first of all, let's talk about performance. Now, I haven't had this particular locomotive to pieces yet. There's no need to do that until, you know, a year down the line or so when they need a service. However, a lot of people have sent these in to me to service in the past, and I have serviced some of my own in the past as well. And I have to say the mechanism inside here is really, really top quality. All of the driven axles have proper turned metal bearings on them, which is a really good high quality feature. As I've already said, this has got full tender pickups, which means that there is no trouble over express points or anything like that. It'll negate the dead zones without any kind of issue or anything like that. And of course the kind of motors in these are pretty good quality as well. They're known to last quite a long time. So let's give this a little bit of a try at slow speeds then. I've got her hooked up to the HM2000 here, and I'm just going to give her a little bit of juice and see what happens here. So as you can see there, she is edging forwards very, very slowly. Not terribly smooth at that speed, it has to be said, and she has already been running. But of course, as soon as she gets a little bit quicker, even that speed for example, she is perfectly smooth. And as I say, the quality of this mechanism is second to none. And that's personally something I really like about the Hornby mechanisms. They always seem to run so nicely and quietly too. I mean, you really can't hear a thing from her. So yeah, a really, really good performer, as you'd fully expect. Okay, let's couple to the coaches and see if she can haul them. Okay, gently does it. There we go. Let's keep her pushing back a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Alright, let's bring her forwards then and see if she can move them. And out on the layout there are, let's see here, I think 8 other A4 locos. So see if you can spot what they are and let me know in the comments what you spotted. There is also an odd one out today, so if you want to let me know what that is as well, feel free to. Anyway, I'll give you the first 2 locos that are running. So on the middle line we have a loco that I think I've already mentioned today. It is of course Hornby's Golden Eagle in the BR Blue. Absolutely love the livery on this. I mean, just look at that. And today she's hauling the Sleepy train. And I call it that because it's all sleeper cars, so hopefully that'll look quite nice. And then on the inside line, she should be coming around the curve any minute. We have another Hornby A4, this time it's the railroad version, and it's Gadwell, also one that I mentioned. And today she's got a nice rake of Pullmans. So enjoy the running session, and let's see how Mallard gets on up Gordon's Hill with those coaches. Alright, here she goes, and look at that. Doesn't she just look amazing down there on the track? She really does look the part, doesn't she? And as you can see up there, no slowing down at the top curve there. Fantastic. She's astonishing, isn't she? And don't you just love the garter blue? It really just is superb, isn't it? Gets me every time, that does. There goes Golden Eagle thundering down Gordon's Hill. She's very, very impressive too in that BR blue. So here are some of my ratings then for the Hornby A4 in the beautiful garter blue. Detail, I don't think it can really be anything other than 5 out of 5. This has absolutely blown me away, and I've seen them before. Well, the Golden Eagle I've seen before. So absolutely superb detail. Similarly, power, 5 out of 5 for a loco that is chiefly made of plastic, or at least the bodywork is. The chassis is relatively heavy, and so the pulling power is quite immense. 7 coaches, absolutely no problem with her, and I have no doubt she'd probably manage 8 or 9 with similarly small amounts of wheel slip. Slow speed then, I've given this 4 out of 5. I think the slow speed is still way above average. It's not quite as good as some of the locos that I've got, but it's certainly up there, so I think 4 out of 5 is fair. Quality, I'm really happy to say that Hornby seems to have really picked things up recently in terms of quality, and I'm giving more and more 5 out of 5s on the quality as time goes on, which is great to hear. And obviously today it has to be a 5 out of 5, no missing parts, she worked perfectly straight out of the box, and I've been handling her all day and nothing's dropped off, so absolutely top notch there. Now value, the RRP, Hornby's price for this is £189.99. Obviously that is very, very expensive, and you know, I don't really like prices like that. However, it must be said that everything about this model was absolutely top notch. So while it is extremely expensive, you do get what you pay for. So I haven't been too harsh with the rating there. I've given it a 3 out of 5, middle of the road. It's just okay, I think, the value for money. And also if you want to drop into the retailers, I think Hatton's are selling these for £152, which is quite a bit better. So if you wanted to go down that route, you absolutely could. Overall then, that is 8.72 out of 10, a very decent score there. Let's put her into the 2018 rankings. There she is, 5th, just above the rails of Sheffield Class 66, and below the Bachmann 4F. Yep, I think she's well deserving of being well within the top 10 there. So let me know what you think to my ratings anyway. Was I too harsh? Was I too generous? I will put a poll up so that you can decide. Whatever you think is absolutely fine. Obviously it is just my opinion. So we're up top of Gordon's Hill. Still can't see any wheel slip, so she really, really is a great puller, it has to be said. So there you have it then, folks. That is the new Hornby Mallard for the 80th anniversary. Well, I guess it is anyway. Hope you enjoyed seeing that as much as I did. And of course, if you did enjoy the video, please feel free to leave it a like or even a comment. But for now, folks, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all very soon. Cheers, everybody.